I think, when you do something just really great and you feel good about it, that's what that album did for all of us. We just went, this is awesome. This is really good. It's almost like that same thing that we had when we felt, right after we got done with Tell It the Devil. Yeah. We listened to it.
Because a lot of people commented that you guys did the covers better than some of the original artists.
Well, that's an opinion. I don't want to.
I know you're modest. You're a modest guy. You're not going to say,
no,
"Oh yeah, sure."
I think if anything, we just wanted to celebrate. These songs and what they did for us. Yeah. And how these bands brought us to this level of taking that whole genre of music into what Stryper is today.
Yes, and that's fabulous. Yeah. The mix is fabulous.
And so that's another one that really stands out. So pretty much those three are my favorites, I would say.
Oh, good. And I think they're mine too, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
What have been your biggest influences in music? Other guitar players that have that you've really enjoyed listening to when you're not out on tour and you're not practicing or rehearsing with a band or in pre-production for an album or whatever.
There's a whole history of that for me.
Yeah.
Because I went through a lot of different sections of my life listening to. It started off with Buck Owens and the Buckaroos.
I know, I remember that.
Yeah, of course. And
Don Rich.
Well, Don Rich wasn't the guy who was playing on the Open Up Your Heart album. That was
what's his name?
From Elvis.
James Burton.
James Burton.
Okay.
That was James Burton.
Okay.
And so he pretty much established this thing in my heart to want to play guitar with the chicken picking. And during that studio session, I guess, is when it all went down. And of course, later on, when I started hanging out with, my dad was really into Latin music.
Yes.
But his rock side was more geared towards Santana, so I listened to a lot of Santana. And then from there, I guess the next influence that happened to me was when I got into high school, and that's when I started listening to Black Sabbath.
Okay.
And so it wasn't so much the player. Tony Iommi's, a unique player, and he has a unique way of playing.
Yeah.
It was just the sound of it that really inspired me to want to move towards that metal kind of vibe.
Yeah.
And then after that, I would listen to guys like Michael Schenker or Uli John Roth, who was with the Scorpions in the early days of the Scorpions.
How about Stevie Ray Vaughan?
Well, Stevie Ray Vaughan came later.
Okay.
That was... See, it wasn't until I got through those guys, and then I jumped into... I was listening to Jeff Beck also at the time, too. You remember Odie?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so Odie was into all these different players.
Yeah.
And so I would listen to his, his stuff.
Yeah.
And so that kind of went, like I said, it went from there to Van Halen. And Van Halen came out, that was it for me.
Yeah.
I had to just sit there and learn everything, note for note, all the nuances, all the different things that he did. And so from there, that took me, obviously, to a place where I could be in Stryper. And that's when, we kind of started doing our thing at that point. But then it wasn't until I got together with Tony Palacios when he started telling me, you should be listening to Stevie Ray Vaughan, Jimi Hendrix, Eric Clapton. And then Grover Jackson. I was good friends with Grover Jackson at the time. Still am, although I haven't talked to him in a while. It's hard to get a hold of these days. But he set me up with a stack of guitar players. He gave me a stack of vinyl records, and I just sat there and listened. He said, Grover used to tell me, just listen to him. Don't try to copy him. Just listen to him and get inspired.
Just pick up little bits and pieces of the different genres, right?
Yeah. And he was giving me stuff like Freddie King, Albert King, Otis Rush, just all this stuff that was like, wow, I've never heard this before. And this was like, then obviously listening to all that and getting into Stevie Ray Vaughan, you're going, okay, I can hear where he's, kind of playing like these guys, and it was kind of like this adventure of guitar that I jumped into, and then, and then later on it was, Joe Satriani,
Singers do the same thing. You know, when they're trying to find themselves, they're trying to find their style and their sound. They do the same thing.
Right.
So, and that was a very good thing that you did.
Yeah. So I mean, that's really what inspired me as a guitar player. You know, was mostly all of that. Now,
I'm just awestruck.
Now, as far as singing goes, because that's a whole other side to me.
Yeah.
Okay, because I not too many people know it, but I'm pretty much the workhorse of Stryper.
Yeah.
Because I do a lot of vocals.
Yes, I know you do.
Okay, Michael's the lead singer, but I'm the guy who sits there and.
You're doing more backup vocals than anybody else.
I help to bring the whole thing solid.
Yes.
You know, a lot of times when Michael has to catch his breath so he can sing the next line, I have to sing a line.
Yes, I
understand. Which is, not too many people know that, but it's what I do. And I mean, to be honest with you, I did attempt to try to find myself as a singer when I did the Sin Dizzy thing.
Yeah.
Which that was a good attempt, but I certainly don't feel like that was my best.
Yeah.
And I did things that I probably shouldn't have done, because every time I would do a Sin Dizzy show live, I felt like my throat had razor blades going through it.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So
you were singing from your throat instead of your diaphragm.
More of that.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I mean, I still don't really know where my voice is, as a lead singer. But hopefully I'll explore that if I do a solo.
Well, you do a great job.
Oh, thank you.
You do a fabulous job. So you got nothing to be ashamed of.
I plan on doing a solo album sometime when I get some time, because I'm in so many projects right now. So.
Me too.
Yeah.
That's one. If you're into that, that's one love that you never give up on, no matter how old you are. As long as you can still carry a tune and you can still sing, you'll always have that desire.
Yeah.
So.
And it'd be cool to get back and get maybe some of those old demos of that stuff I played on for you and Phil.
I still have all that stuff. What would you like to accomplish that you haven't been able to do yet?
Solo album.
That's it.
Solo album. Haven't done that yet.
Okay.
And to do that, obviously, it's a big. That's going to be a big chore.
Yeah, it is.
For me.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are expecting something from me. If I do something like that, they're going to expect nothing less than good stuff. And so I'm kind of caught in this world of being a guitar player and trying to come off as being a great player. But then also, I want to sing, and I kind of want to see if I can explore that avenue as well.
Find yourself as a singer, then there's a production end of it.
Yeah. And it's going to cost money to do it.
Of course.
And getting the right people to work with you.
Of course. You got to have, if you don't have the right people.
Yeah.
Now, I remember when Stryper was recording To Hell with the Devil, and everything was not gelling right with the producer.
Okay.
But the album still turned out fabulous. Mm-hmm. And that was a big effort, because there was a lot of emotional stuff going on, between the guys in the band and the producer, right?
Yeah. I mean, I know there was a lot of controversy and stuff going on at that time to try to get that done. I mean, there was a lot of things going on with the producer and everybody, and it just was. It makes for a rough situation.
Yeah,
anytime you go in the studio to work, you don't want controversy or attitudes or people pissed off about stuff or any of that kind of stuff. It's just not cool.
No. And here you're spending thousands of dollars a day, to do this, and you're running into these obstacles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And for the most part, excuse me, let me cut that out. For the most part, I don't. The studio is a place where people are being creative, and sometimes tensions flare.
Yeah, they do.
Sometimes it does, and I don't know. A lot of times when that starts happening, I just walk out of the room and go find something else to do.
But still, overall, it was worth it, because I look at that as one of your best efforts.
Yeah.
you know.
No, of course, and it I mean, look what it did. It pretty much launched the band.
Oh yeah, it did.
Know? So, you know, I mean, we got through it, we learned from it, and now, you know, we're hopefully not going to have situations like that happen again.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Do you remember the first memory of meeting Phil when we lived on Chatfield in Whittier? Do you? I remember Phil going out in the backyard, which we didn't go out in that backyard very often because we had that chow dog. You remember that chow dog? And Phil went out there, and you were sitting out there petting the dog, and I was thinking, how did he get over the fence without the dog biting him? And what I was wondering was, were you listening to the band and rehearsing? You didn't want them to know that you were there, or?
I don't remember why I did that. I just somehow I heard the band, and I was in the alley walking through, and
you were in the alley.
Yeah, and I jumped over the fence, and I was trying to get in. I think didn't you have a door back there or something?
We had a gate.
I think I opened the gate, and I walked
did?
in, and I was listening, and I was going to walk around to the front to see who was playing or what, and I think that's when Phil walked out and saw me.
Oh, okay.
But it was so long ago I could barely remember. You know, my brain doesn't remember things.
I just remember him saying, "There's this guy in the backyard that's sitting there petting the dog," and the dog didn't bite him.
I'm pretty good with animals.
Do you ever wish that you could go back to the climax of the Stryper days?
Well, I guess from convenience sake. For convenience sake, yes. I wish that it was kind of like, you know, easier to do what
Easier,
we do.
yeah.
It's not as easy anymore.
And it's always easy to be up versus down. Right. You know, nobody likes the down times. We all like the up times.
Yeah. But we're finding out now that we're out touring again that a lot of the guys like us from that era that we're now actually playing with, they're going through the same things that we're going through.
Yeah.
It's doing things on their own and traveling.
Well, they're older. They're not selling product like they used to. They don't have a lot of record company support. A lot of artists are selling